Hi boys and girls, so in today's reading video we are going to continue reading Frankly Frannie Doggy Daycare. Now before I continue reading, I want to talk a little bit about your activity that you can work on today and tomorrow. So in our last couple chapters we met Magoo, who was Frannie's aunt. And do you guys remember what Frannie's aunt's job was? Yeah, she makes sock dolls, right? And Elliot was particularly interested in making sock dolls because he saw that there were boy sock dolls. So your activity for the next 2 days is to design your own sock doll. So you are going to draw a sock doll. And what I will do is I will post the pictures from the last couple chapters that we read of Magoo's sock dolls so you can have an idea of what they would look like. But you can make the sock doll look like you could make it look like your dog, you could make it look like anyone you want. It doesn't have to be a person. So that is what your activity is going to be. And all the directions are in the Google Doc, so if you have any other questions you can always ask me. So in our last chapter, at the end, Frannie decided that she wanted to prove to Magoo that she would be able to take care of Magoo's dog Bark. Because Magoo said, I can't have you take care of Bark, Frannie, because he's too big and he keeps knocking Frannie over. So Frannie wants to find a way to prove to Magoo that she's responsible enough. So she decides to put jelly under her pillow. Do you guys remember why she wanted to put jelly under her pillow? Why did she choose jelly? Yeah, she talked about how at Disney World, the housekeepers would put mints on the pillows when they were done cleaning the room, and it made it kind of nice. So she thought, well, I'll put a mint on the pillow, but she didn't have a mint, so she decided to put jelly because it was sweet. So that is where we left off in Chapter 6. We're going to continue with Chapter 7 right now. Are you guys ready? Awesome. All right. Chapter 7. Elliot and I woke up on Saturday to the sun kissing us on our noses. We still couldn't believe our luck that we got to sleep inside and outside almost. We shuffled into the kitchen just as my dad whistled for Bark to come take his walk. He came running with his big tail wagging. Dad clicked his leash to his collar, and I couldn't believe that even with the turned down bed and strawberry jelly on Magoo's pillow, I still had to take care of the stinky cats. Dad said if Elliot and I wanted to come along, we should hurry up and feed the cats and put our coats on. Outside, I memorized how he had held the leash just in case his wrist stopped working and I needed to take his place. Then I memorized exactly the streets we walked down so that I wouldn't get lost and finally got to take care of Bark myself. You are such a good Labradoodle, I said to Bark. That is when Elliot pointed to the little dog rounding the corner running towards us. Then, not even 2 seconds after, another person with their dog rounded the corner, and then even more. What is going on over there? My dad asked. It's like an animal parade. Then a rabbit on a leash appeared, and then a cat on a leash. We walked really fast to the corner, and when we got there, we saw even more people with their pets. Maybe it's an audition for animal TV, Elliot said. Anything's possible, my dad said. We got closer. Finally, when we got close enough, I read the sign. You will never guess in a million decades what it said. Veterinarian's office. My dad looked right at me in the eyes and knew exactly what I was thinking. Don't even think about it, Bird. Just for 1/2 centimeter of a second, I begged him. No, we have way too much to do. There are vets in Chester. You can wait until we get back home. We weren't getting back home for another entire full day and a little. That was nearly forever teen hours. I dragged my feet and hung my head extra low on the walk back so my dad knew just how sad I was. When we got back to Magoo's, Elliot and I saw her crutches leaning against the wall. We looked at each other. Maybe she was healed. Then 2 seconds later, Magoo rolled down the hall. She was in a wheelchair. That is when I stopped breathing almost forever. I could not believe my worldwide eyes. Ellie was freeze-tagging into place. For a second, I thought Magoo broke something else, but then she explained she just needed to get off her foot for a while. Also, the crutches made her armpits hurt. I knew that I would never get hurt armpits if I had crutches. I thought walking on her silver crutches would be the most fun thing in the world, but when I saw the wheelchair, it changed to the second most wonderful thing in the world. Pushing Magoo in her wheelchair would be the most extremely, honestly, number one-tastic, most official thing that I ever done. If I showed Magoo how natural I was pushing a wheelchair, she would know how good I was taking care of people. And if I was good at taking care of people, then I'd probably be good at taking care of dogs. People are bigger than dogs. Do you need me to push her somewhere? I asked. No, I'm good where I am, sweetie. Thanks, though. Oh, I answered, disappointed. Maybe you need to walk on your crutches so that they don't get stolen, she laughed. I think my crutches are okay. Because I know for a scientific fact that if you leave things out for too long, they can go stale. Frannie, my dad warned. What? You know what? I don't know what, I argued. And Magoo's wheelchair and crutches are off limits, my mom called from the couch where she was reading the newspaper. Oh yeah, that's what. Don't you worry about the crutches. I think they'll just be fine on their own. That is not a fact I agreed with. I walked over to the wheelchair and stood next to her. She was busy making a sock doll and wasn't paying so much attention to my please can I wear your crutches expression or even my I'm probably the best wheelchair pusher in the world face. Elliot sat on the other side of Magoo working on his sock doll. They were being very quiet, very concentrated and quiet. They were also being boring. I put my hand on the handlebar of the chair. Well, if you did need someone to push you, I bet I'd be really good at it, I told her. Magoo looked up and smiled. You know what? I would love it if you could push me into the kitchen so I could get a glass of water. Okay, I said. I was almost as excited as when I got to drive a bumper car. I got behind Magoo's chair and pushed it very slowly into the kitchen. It was much heavier than I thought it would be, but still, I was a very good wheelchair roller. I stood next to Magoo as she drank her water, and then I pushed her back to the exact place she had been before. Do you need more water? I asked. I just drank some, silly. When you break something, you get very thirsty, I told her. Really? Is that a fact? Magoo wanted to know. Oh, I responded, looking down. Well, maybe not a scientific fact, I said. I'll let you know if I want more water. Okay, but if you need me to push you somewhere else really soon, I told her, I could do that too. Sounds like a deal, she said. I waited and waited and waited, but Magoo didn't need to go anywhere. Then I got bored and decided to count how many rooms, including bathrooms and closets, Magoo had in her house. When I went into Magoo's room, she yelled, "The boxes are off limits." Okay, I yelled back, even though I didn't know what she was talking about. But then I saw them. There were 3 very big cardboard boxes, one next to the other. I went over to look. One was filled with cloth and yarn, the next was filled with buttons, and the next with socks and cotton. Because they were off limits, I looked with my eyes and not with my hands, as my dad would say. Next to the boxes was a bag. Its mouth was wide open. I stood over it and looked inside, and you would not believe what was in it. It was filled with a hospital amount of medical tape, ace bandages, Band-Aids, and every single thing in the world that you could ever imagine or want. I didn't know which bag I liked more, my dad's briefcase or this one. Do you guys remember her dad's briefcase with all the resumes in it? I pulled it out and brought it with me into the living room to show everyone. It was not a box, so it was okay that I looked inside with my hands. Look what I found, I said. Everyone looked at the bag. What is it? My dad asked. It's supplies for my leg, Magoo explained. Frannie, where did you get that? my dad asked in his "I'm a little bit annoyed with you" voice. "It's not a box," I argued. "Frannie," continued my dad, "put that bag back immediately. You know you shouldn't go through people's stuff. You leave Magoo's things alone, okay? The ace bandages, the medical tape, the crutches, the wheelchair, it's all off limits. Do you understand? We need your help with the cats, not the medical supplies." "Fine," I grumped, and then dragged the bag back to Magoo's room, sat on her bed, and waited to become unbored. Chapter 8. After we cleaned all the dishes from dinner, we got to do whatever it was we wanted until bedtime. Magoo still had to work on her sock dolls because tomorrow was the big day with the fancy toy store person. Now she had company, though. Elliot was working so hard on his sock doll, it was almost done. He was so good at it, I was worried that he might not want to be my secretary after all. "Frannie, would you like to start a new doll?" Magoo asked. I can help thread a needle if you need help." "That's okay," I told her. Making sock dolls is fun, but I needed to concentrate on showing Magoo how responsible and thoughtful I am, which is why I went looking again for something mintish to put on her pillow. I still couldn't find anything, so I took a big jar of honey and put that on her pillow. The jelly from the day before was on her night table, so I left it there. Then I looked over and saw her crutches leaning up against her wall, looking very lonely. If Magoo wasn't going to use them, I didn't understand why I couldn't. What do you guys think? Do you think she's going to use the crutches? Let's keep reading and see. They were just going to waste lying there against the wall all like that. And also they were probably going stale. I tiptoed down the hall and saw my mom and dad talking in the kitchen while they drank tea. Magoo and Elliot were busy with their dolls. This was the most absolute perfect time. No one would even see me use the crutches, so they would never know that I ever used them, which meant I could never get in trouble. I tiptoed back to Magoo's room and shut her door. As I walked down towards the crutches, I heard a sound at the door. I opened it, and there was Bark. He was always trying to tell everyone that he wanted to be in charge of him instead of my dad. But no one understood this except for me, because no one really understood Bark the way I did. I let him in the room, and then I shut the door again. The crutches were really tall. I wasn't sure how my armpits would reach the top. That was when I decided to drag the crutches over the bed. Then I stood on the bed and set the crutches in a ready position. I leaned over and placed my armpits on the cushiony top part. Then, when both armpits were in the seats, I stepped off the bed. But then something horrible happened. My feet did not touch the floor, and I was swinging by my armpits from the crutches. Bark came over to help me, but he knocked into the crutches, which slipped from under me, and I fell right on top of him. Bark yelped very loudly and leaped away, banging into the night table and knocking the picture frames and the jar of jelly to the floor. The crutches crashed into the wall and then plunked down to the floor next to them and landed on my butt with a bang. There were 3 million different crashes, which is why the door flew open and I saw the extremely worried faces of my mom, dad, and Elliot. "Are you okay?" my mother asked, as she ran to help me up on my feet. Uh-oh, sounds like a lot of things just happened at that moment. Bad things, too. As soon as I told her I was fine, my dad's face filled with red, splotchy anger. Ellie put his hand over his mouth, and my mom put her hands on her waist, which is what she does when she's about to yell at me. I was in a worldwide canyon of trouble. And that is where we are going to stop today. So boys and girls, you can now start working on your sock doll design, which is all in the Google Doc. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll continue reading and find out if Frannie's going to get in trouble tomorrow or what's going to happen with her. Is she going to be able to take care of the cats like Magoo said she could? We'll have to see. Bye, guys.